I wanted to go over my design process with one of my pieces for the variation of fine art theme. So I did Picasso's Guitar Player, the Blue Guitarist, which, by the way, you can see over in Chicago if you ever head that way. And I wanted to do something a little bit more contemporary. I joked because when I had this idea, I was thinking, man, I need a tall, lanky friend that I could pose in this. And then I became friends with my friend CJ here, and he asked me for some photo lessons, and I thought, this will be perfect. So here's the original image I took, and I wanted it to be more of a contemporary piece. And when I said have somebody in the photo, what I was looking for was a situation where you're in control of how the light is looking, and how you're posing people. So in this situation, I said, I just want you to wear your normal clothes. And the idea was that I was going to have someone that was tall and lanky, that I could have them slouch a bit, but and have more of a contemporary feel. So we have our chucks and we have the electric guitar, and I wanted to play with that. So this is the original image. We took quite a few of these and trying to figure out which shot I liked, and I thought this one looks pretty good. So the first thing I did was I put a layer of blue. Now, a lot of the times when I'm talking about layers, I have been talking about playing with multiply or overlay or soft light. On this particular one, I have it set on hue. And with us not being face to face, I wanted to show you how this all changes about. So here it is on normal dissolve. Because it's a solid piece, there's not really much for it to dissolve. There's no color variation. Darken is going to make sure any spots where it is lighter than that, it will fill with that blue. Multiply, in theory, is one of my favorite ones to use. I use that a lot for a lot of my digital paintings, building shadows, things like that, and also building intensity. For this particular part, that's not what we really want to do. Color burn, you can see how it's starting to interact with the image underneath a little bit differently. And yeah, some of these kind of explain themselves. Then you have the lighter colors or the lighter filters where you're dealing with lighting. Screen is another one I like a lot, but it's not my favorite. Not as much as I use multiply. Color dodge, linear dodge, and lighter color. There is no set way to do things in Photoshop. It's a lot of experimentation. That's the thing that I know a lot of you are wanting, like that step-by-step instruction on this, but it's really about experimenting, and that's what I'm hoping you're getting with the variations of the fine art theme. The ones that I like to use when it comes to the lighter stuff is the overlay and the soft light. These are two of my favorites that I like to use for playing with my layers. But for this particular one, I am switching with hue, for I just want the hue to kind of fill in a couple of spots there, and later on I'm going to build it. So in this one, I drew out a background, and what I did was block colors out, and based on what the original painting was. I also used the smudge tool on this. When I did this particular one, the mixing brush did not exist yet, and I wanted to look smudgy anyway. So I used my smudge tool to kind of move all those things around. And instead of masking, I just erased where he was going to be. I also wanted to have a couple of lines that were on top of him anyway, so it felt a little bit more painterly. Then I'm going to go ahead and turn this layer off. Then I did a layer where I was painting the guitar, and I used multiply. So you can see what I did there. And I'm not trying to make it perfect because it was supposed to feel like a painting. The next part, I started painting over his shirt using the smudge tool once again. Like I said, the mixing brush wasn't there, but for this style, or for this particular piece, I really liked that kind of heavy smudge look that was going on. There it is with the background, and you can see how it's starting to build up on top of it. Then I started building up highlights where I'm simply drawing some quick, simple sketch lines with a white brush. And instead of playing with the layer effects here, I'm changing the opacity over here. So there's my line work. And then I'm just playing with it to not make it stand out so much. Then I also have my lowlights, just kind of doing that same thing. And because the guitar is in a yellow, I wanted to make sure it had its own. Now, the other thing I do with mine, I'm going to go ahead and turn these layers off. And another thing that I tend to do is I'll take my image, flatten it, and make a copy of it. So let me show you what I did. I made a copy of it and I pasted it. And then I went through and I erased parts of it to act as an additional overlay. So I'm just going back in my history here to show you what that is. So there's that layer right there. And then a lot of you discovered the filters that are the oil painting ones. You didn't see me actually do air quotes, but I did the air quotes there. And I like that, but I don't want to just be able to go, oh, that's that filter. And so I made a copy again and I added that texture and then I started erasing bits and pieces of it so that it wasn't so intentional. So I still have some of the textures of CJ's jeans and some of the other stuff, and that canvas feel is there, but it's not so in your face. And so this is how I kind of developed this one. I mean, it is how I developed this one, and hopefully this will give you a little bit more guidance and ways to be creative with your variations of the fine art theme. Remember, fine art is a very loose term for me here. I'm looking for public art that can be identified in the past, that's older than 30 years. So illustrations, album covers, even video game cartridges kind of qualify into that art piece that I'm looking for. So I'm hoping that this is getting you to think outside the box and helping you come up with something creative and fun that showcases who you are as a creative person. Thanks for watching, and I will talk to you soon.